Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Chair Shots to the Cranium. I'm your host, Stephen Goforth. I am so excited to have as my guest today Erick Redbeard, a.k.a. Erick Rowan from WWE. We have a fantastic conversation about so many different things. Number one, his debut with Universal Championship Wrestling. We also talk about his upcoming match at the UCW show with Carlito, his time with Luke Harper as a tag team, his time with the Wyatt Family, his match with The Rock at WrestleMania, the Bludgeon Brothers angle that he had with Luke Harper, his run with Daniel Bryan, and he also talks about the passing of Luke Harper, a.k.a. Brodie Lee, the first time he's really sharing his feelings on the death of Brodie, and how he handled that, and how he is handling that, and how it affected him. And also talking about the future of Erick Redbeard. What is in store for Erick? What does he have coming down the pipeline? You don't want to miss this wonderful interview. Tremendous talent in the business of professional wrestling, and it was an absolute pleasure to speak with him. So without further ado, let's jump right into the interview with Erick Redbeard, a.k.a. Erick Rowan. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest today is one of the most athletic and talented big men in professional wrestling. He's won multiple tag team championships. He was part of one of the most popular and successful factions in professional wrestling history. He experienced tremendous success as a singles wrestler, and he's considered one of the most dominant wrestlers to ever step foot in a ring. Please welcome the powerful and impressive Erick Redbeard, also known as Erick Rowan. Erick, how are you today, man?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure's all mine. You're going to be joining an outstanding roster of UCW, Universal Championship Wrestling. Your first match with the company will take place on Sunday, September 12th in Greenville, South Carolina at Summer Slamboree. You'll be joining other UCW superstars such as UCW Heavyweight Champion Carlito and The Awakening, formerly known as The Ascension in WWE. How did you hear about UCW, and what are your thoughts about joining this exciting promotion?
I'm friends with the former Ascension, the Awakening, who are going to be on the show, and me and Ryan Connor used to ride together a lot on the road. So he kind of put me in touch with this particular promotion, which he seemed excited about. And I usually go off his judgment when you're close with somebody. So they gave me an option to come in, and like you said, there's guys like Carlito who I've never got a chance to get in the ring with. So, it sparks my interest.
Well, I know UCW and its owner, Ron Gossett, are extremely excited to have you on board. You mentioned Carlito. He's a Universal Heavyweight Champion. You'll be wrestling him on the show on September 12th. Tell me about your thoughts with your matchup with Carlito. You said this will be the first time you guys have been in the ring together one-on-one.
Yeah. He's obviously a tremendous athlete and talent in his own right. I never think about who I'm working the day of unless it's announced, quite frankly, because I like to just think that I like surprises, I guess,
Sure,
and
sure.
so I try not to dwell on it too much, but it's Carlito, and I'd love to smash an apple over his head. I don't know why, but no, I'm excited for the chance to debut with UCW and make a statement against Carlito, and I think it'll be a fun mesh of styles.
Well, let's take a trip down memory lane for a second. Talk about your career. You've accomplished so much in your career. You debuted around 2003. Around 2007, you took your talents to Japan. What experiences did you have early on in your career that shaped you into the wrestler you feel you are today?
Man, I think it's a combination of everything, and always having the attitude of wanting to improve myself. And, that's with everything in my life. So it transfers to wrestling as well. Never settling for what you have and always striving to want more. So, I started to train in some little tiny gym, and I wanted more. So I went and trained with Eddie Sharkey even after I trained, because I wanted him to be my trainer, And then from there, I got a chance to go to Japan and live in the dojo and, stay there for 3 months and do the tours there. And, absorb everything and try to get better. And then you kind of go back on the indies and you're not traveling all over. You're stuck in one place. I was a single father at the time. It's really hard to, leave every weekend to go wrestle when you got one, kid to take care of by yourself. It's just not, you don't have that support group to help you. And, but then, you get developmental and you're working around, people and learning and absorbing, and then getting on the main roster and learning and absorbing and just continuing to learn and absorb. You still learn and absorb. This the beauty of any kind of business that has to do with art. Like, you're constantly learning, and pro wrestling is an art form. So you're always learning. You're always learning something new, and you can learn something new from anybody. And if you close yourself out and try not to learn, then you're just going to be miserable. A miserable artist.
Yeah, agree 100%. Agree 100% on that. You always got to be evolving, right?
Of course.
Well, let's fast forward a little bit to 2011. You signed with FCW, which is Florida Championship Wrestling at that time, and that was a developmental territory at that time for WWE, and of course later became part of that rebranded NXT in 2012. What were your feelings on FCW transitioning into NXT during that time when you heard about it?
I mean, it was difficult for people. I mean, we had FCW, and Dr. Tom Pritchard was the trainer there, and then in comes the new trainer, Bill DeMont, and then came the changes with the NXT and from FCW. So it was just a lot of different changings of the guards. But like I said, you have to evolve and and learn and be open to that. But then you also have to trust in yourself and what you're capable of, because there can be lots of cooks in the kitchen that kind of mess with you too.
Sure.
But yeah, it was a crazy, hectic thing where nobody knew who was in charge, what was going on. It was crazy to think about. Just so many different moving parts happening, and then what it became, and then just the formation of the Wyatt family, and getting that run on the main roster. I mean, it was just a crazy whirlwind that happened pretty quick after that.
Well, that leads me into my next question. Of course, the Wyatt family was formed, of course, consisting of yourself, Luke Harper, and Bray Wyatt. When you guys came together, did you ever think that the Wyatt family would be as successful as it was and make such a gigantic impact on the wrestling world?
I think after we filmed those vignettes for the main roster, and then the whole look and the pre-match entries and the way the crowds responded to us, and we kind of felt we were much different than anything else that had been seen at that point, within wrestling. So we always had a sense that it was something special.
Where did the idea come from for you to wear the sheep mask? Because you were the only one in the group to wear that. Where did that idea come from?
So before I was even part of the Wyatt family, we were doing lots of different promos and stuff, in front of Dusty Rhodes and on our promo days with developmental. And, I had been doing a Viking gimmick. So I came out with reindeer fur, drinking out of horns and cutting promos on, being the man from the North.
Right.
And they told me, to try to change it a little bit. They want me to do some promos with this group with that Bray was trying to do. So I remember one day Bray brought me like maybe like 4 or 5 different masks, and he was like, "Just try this for your promo day." I was like, "Okay." One was like a clear mask that had makeup on it, that I cut like half the mask off so it would show my beard. Another one was a clown mask that was like half a clown mask. One of them was a sheep mask. One of them was a mask with like a pig type thing. Mm-hmm. So every day I'd try, like, I'd come out with pajamas and wearing a mask, and it would be a promo with like those two, or Rick Victor, or just different people, or with Brodie, and we would just do different things, that I'd be a different character every week using either one of the masks or whatever. And to me, it was always a play off of like, Tiny or Leatherface, from Devil's Rejects or
Right.
Texas Chainsaw, and just that weird outsider. And because I always found those characters interesting to me. And I'll never forget. I remember wearing these masks, and Dusty told me to take off the mask because my face was ugly enough. Because he was basically portraying that I have a unique look in professional wrestling. I look scary, and I don't need the mask to look any more scary.
Right.
Fast forward. I debuted with the Wyatt Family on the NXT, and we started to become what we were. We got called up to main roster. Well, in the trunk of my car, I still had those masks, and I don't know why, but that sheet mask stood out to me, and I brought it with during the day of shooting, just because on a whim, like if they wanted to use it. And ever since, it became part of the character.
Of course, you formed that impressive tag team with Luke Harper, and you just took the tag team division by storm. Whose idea was it to put you guys together and be such a dominant tag team? And what vision maybe did you guys have for your team?
So it's funny because I go back and I think about when we first started taking together, and we started taking together when Bill DeMont came on, and he just put us together. I don't think he had any ideas to put us with Wyndham, but he just wanted us together. He liked that look of us together. And then just fast forward to the main roster, and then we were already with Bray, and then we needed something to do, and we could work as a tag team or singles. It didn't matter. So yeah, just the powers that be liked us together, liked the way we gelled together. And it's, as you can tell from just as time went by, we grew more and more as a tag team, obviously as time went by.
Did you guys have any thoughts? Did you guys sit down and talk together and say, hey, let's do this, or I'd like to do that, or nah, let's not do this, let's try that?
More towards when the Bludgeon Brothers, I think then, because when the first run was happening, when we were with the Wyatts and then we got put back together, we wanted to be singles wrestlers. We wanted to have character development with individuals, and everyone's dream is to be world champion. And they kept putting us together, and I think we butted heads a little bit in the beginning, but by that Bludgeon Brothers run, we just sat down and we said, we work well together. Let's make this work, and that's when we started putting all our ideas together.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. When you guys were the Bludgeon Brothers, that was really exciting to me. I mean, in my opinion, you guys just absolutely dominated the tag team division. And realistically, when you look at you two guys, there's really no other team that could match up. I mean, how did you guys feel about it when you rebranded yourself to Bludgeon Brothers and that dominance that you guys put on display when you got in the ring together?
I remember the first pitch meeting for it. They showed us pictures of what they wanted the Bludgeon Brothers to look like, and it was literally like I think it's almost exactly what Karrion Kross is wearing right now. It's like the demolition leather, like straps, like look like suspenders around you while you wrestle. And we both looked at each other like, no. And I think that's when I had a few friends that designed some things, Kim Della and Jason Baker, and I kind of had them help put together a look based on like Norse mythology and different things, just to make it more us, and and help with the masks and stuff like that. So it just all came together because we just didn't say yes. But
right.
One thing they made us have is they wanted us to have these mallets, and nobody wants to just walk out with these crazy looking mallets. But luckily, my buddy Jason Baker, he put together these really badass looking hammers with North runes with their kids' names carved into them. So
yeah, they were pretty badass. I agree with you on that.
People always thought they looked fake, but they were like 25 pounds of solid wood. and
Oh, wow.
you could swing them like a baseball bat, and they weren't padded.
You had a very memorable WrestleMania moment with The Rock at WrestleMania 32. How did this match come about? And just tell me how you felt about being in that moment.
So that happened like 2 days before. Yeah, I think we weren't doing anything, or maybe they were going to have us in the battle royale, like Andre the Giant battle royale. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just 2 days before they let us know what we were doing, And first you hear a match, it's like, oh, cool, and then it's like, oh, it's like this, like okay. But for a moment, it's cool to be part of that, and the 100+ thousand people, that's
Sure.
that's a cool moment. Had I wished it was a regular match, yeah, but would I have been in a position? Probably not.
Did you guys talk to The Rock in detail before that? Did you go over any plans? Just kind of wing it when you got in the ring?
Oh no, I mean, it was a you know thing we talked about, and kind of went over a couple liners, and hey, how you doing? And yeah, just go out and do what you had to do.
Where you went out on your own and you aligned yourself with Daniel Bryan at the Royal Rumble in 2019. Where did the idea come from to pair you up with Daniel?
That's another thing. The day I got hurt at the SummerSlam in 2018, and that was the one of the last matches that the Bludgeon Brothers had. We were the champs versus New Day. I tore my bicep middle of the match. I tell him at the end of the match, "Hey man, I'll see you. I'll see you in 4 months." He's like, "What?" Like, because I knew it was torn during the match. And we leave, and we ended up having to drop the belts 2 days later. We had another match with New Day, like a no DQ, and so I left, and I was totally expecting to come back, Bludgeon Brother, and because they weren't using him, and when I was gone, hurt, and I was just recuperating, rehabbing. What you do when you get hurt, that's your only vacation, and you just strive to get back on the road. And the day I get on the road, I get cleared by the doctor. I'm pulled aside to an office, and yeah, that's where I think Brian James told me that I'll be with Daniel Bryan from now on. So it was just kind of thrust onto me.
Did you and Daniel have the ability to, bounce ideas off each other and talk about your new formation, or was it pretty much just scripted from day one?
I mean, I think it kind of evolved, kind of basically at that point. I wasn't kind of like gonna sit by and just let them do things. I think they wanted me to like dress like him and cut my beard. I think that's when I started wearing my metal shirts, because they took the the land masks away from me, and they wanted me to wear like what Daniel was wearing. They wanted me to cut my beard to be short like his too, and I said no.
No way.
But yeah, that's when I started wearing all these different metal shirts and things like that, because I told Daniel, I was like, we're not the same, but we need to have a common interest. And I said I'm gonna wear these shirts because it's a way to show up personality, because I'm not always going to get this microphone time that he is, because you got a big guy and a small guy. It's usually the big guy is the protector, and luckily something evolved out of it for a little bit, with the whole angle with who done it to Roman Reigns, where at least I got a little bit of character development out of it. But
yeah,
but that run was fun, and it was interesting, and it led to something. So it in my eyes it worked. Just a weird dynamic between us two. I wish we would have been able to do more. I wish I would have been able to show more personality during that, but I think it kind of made sense when I went off on my own.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, your mic skills are, and in my opinion, are very good. Of course, you never really had the opportunity to talk much, right? And when you did, I was very impressed. I was taken. I was like, wow, this guy's great. So, I mean, how did you? I know it had to be a struggle for you to just stand there and not say much, and then how much freedom you had whenever you were able to come out and have a microphone in your hand and show the world what you could do.
I guess it's just funny. We don't do the writing, and you can't write a microphone into your hand.
Right.
Um, you,
Right.
you 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 can try to tell your character's story the best you can when you're told to be quiet.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to be quiet, I want people to know that I what I'm kind of like outside the ring, what my interests are, which is why I wore the masks, because you know you could tell what kind of character I was without talking with the Wyatts when I wore the mask, and I just my mannerisms I would do. You knew that
Sure.
something was off about me. I was a little kooky. Something was going on. And then when I teamed with Daniel and we saw these metal shirts, people drew conclusions like, "Oh, this guy must like going to concerts, blah blah blah." Like that's just little things when you can't talk. How do you get people to know a little bit of your personality? So I don't think people really think about that sort of thing too much, but to me, it's always on my mind, just the little things. So when you're given the opportunity to speak, it's just so much easier to get your point across than having to do little nuances.
Sure. Well, let's talk about that covered cage storyline. I know you've talked about it in the past before, and you mentioned that it I think the original idea, and correct me if I'm wrong here, was supposed to be like a giant rat before it became a giant spider. What were your thoughts on that storyline? Did you feel like it was delivered the way you wanted it to be delivered?
Uh, I hated it. I thought the storyline didn't need to happen. I thought the storyline for me would have been a good feud with somebody,
Yeah.
especially coming off of me debuting back on Raw, losing to Seth in a very competitive manner. Like I thought that that's all I needed, was just a story where I could speak and explain myself and why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Right.
But powers that be thought it I needed some sort of gimmick or cage or something. And again, to me, it was a step back, because again, I'm telling a story without being able to speak. Uh, Going back to trying to tell a story with props. And to me, that was a step back from everything I'd done. So it was a uphill battle, trying to get anything out productive out of it, especially when they just have you in a series of get over matches where you're not really getting over anything except for this cage. And then to me, the payoff to the cage, they didn't want like the same things I wanted to, because they put it out for so long. You have to have a payoff that's equal to how long you make people wait. And to me,
Sure.
they totally, ruined the payoff, which, who's blamed for that? The writers, the people that do it now. I think I was blamed for it. And I think I went into things about that in the past too. But I get hard on myself because I'm a performer. So yeah, I blamed myself in the beginning, for it not working. But that's just me.
Well, a good performer is going to do that. I mean, you're always going to be your own worst critic, right?
Oh yeah.
Of course, we lost Luke Harper, a.k.a. Brodie Lee, in 2020. I know this had to be extremely tough on you. Where were you when you heard the news about Brodie's passing?
I was in my basement watching Soul with my little girl. So of all the movies, I was
Yeah.
watching that. Yeah, man, it's hard to lose, somebody, and it affects you. And but on the other side of it, you need to look at other relationships in your life as well, and it's not going to last forever. Uh, Nothing's guaranteed. And you just need to surround yourselves with the people that you love the most and just let them know it every day, and appreciate them and take everything in, and live life like there's no tomorrow safely. But yeah, I mean, it was devastating. You're on the road with these people, and Brodie in particular, you're on the road with them more than your families. And such a young age, it just blows my mind. It's like, it's crazy. It's like just right after his 41st birthday,
Yeah. Yeah. Do you still stay in touch with Bray? Did you guys communicate right after this happened?
We talked right after it happened. Um, it's just one of those things, man. It's tough for everybody, and everyone, you know, reacts differently to loss. So there's just no words, and every day stings the same. And you try to keep busy with your own projects, to make sure that your mind keeps going, but you never forget. And you always, have that admiration and love.
Erick, I know that had to be extremely tough, and as you move forward, and as tough as that is, how do you look towards your future? What do you have in store for your career as you try to move forward?
The future. I mean, no one's got a crystal ball, I know what I'm striving to do, and I have projects that I'm working on currently, outside of the wrestling realm, with acting.
Yeah.
One of which is a film I did right after my release, Ghosts of the Ozarks, which is premiering at the Austin Film Festival come, I think it's October 23rd through 28th or something like that, in Texas. But that will
Nice.
be the world premiere. It's a movie I did with director Jordan Wayne Long and Matt Glass, and to me it was a tremendous script, and it's a tremendous film. Very, very talented people. Tara Perry, Tommy Hobson, Phil Morris, David Arquette, Tim Blake Nelson, Angela Bettis. They just transformed into these characters, and I'm excited for people to see this film. But with everything that's happened this year too, it kind of strives you to make things that you want it to happen and
Sure.
to not sit and wait. So, yes, I love wrestling, and I still do it because I love it, but you get a little bitter towards it, and you try other things, and you gain a whole love and admiration for these things as well. So, you can look for me in I think in both, but right now I'm really falling in love with acting.
Well, so that fans can be reminded about your movie coming out, or any other appearances you're going to be making, especially one for UCW coming up on September 12th. Where can fans follow you on social media?
They can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Erick Redbeard.
Fans, go out there and follow Erick. Make sure you stay up to date. He's got a lot of exciting things going on, as you hear. That's great about your acting career, man. That's fantastic. I cannot wait to see that.
Oh, I'm excited about it. I tell you all about some other projects that I'm really excited about too, but obviously for reasons, um, of confidentiality, I cannot.
Sure. Yeah, that's totally understandable. Erick, good luck, man, with your debut with Universal Championship Wrestling on September 12th in Greenville, South Carolina. Tickets can be purchased through the UCW website at ucwtv.com. Again, that's ucwtv.com. You do not want to miss this outstanding show and see Erick in action. Erick, congratulations, not only on such a wonderful career so far in professional wrestling, but your new venture into acting. Man, the future is so bright for you. Thank you so very much for taking the time to come on the Chair Shots to the Cranium podcast and just be my guest today. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Pleasure was mine.